If your beard grows easily but your scalp doesn't, there is a reason. I'm going to explain why these two types of hair respond differently and why treating them the same does not work. Let's start with how beard hair and scalp hair behave differently. So your beard hair is literally built differently than your scalp hair. And I'm not just talking about texture. Beard hair is thicker, way thicker. We're talking 70 to 120 micrometers in diameter. Scalp hair, only 50 to 70 micrometers. That means that your beard can be up to twice as thick as the hair on your head. But here's where it gets wild. Beard hair is also up to 50 times stiffer than scalp hair. That's why it feels wiry and coarse. That's why it pokes through your skin like little needles when you're growing it out. And if you look at the cross section of a beard hair under a microscope, it's not round like scalp hair is. It's elliptical, irregular, almost kidney shaped. That's why your beard curls and kinks as it grows out, even if the hair on your head is straight. Your beard also has way more cuticle layers, almost double. That's the outer protective shell of the hair. More layers means more protections, but it also means that hair is coarser and harder to soften. And here's something that most guys don't know. Almost every single beard hair has a medulla. That's the inner core of the hair shaft. Scalp hair? Not always. Some scalp hairs have it and some don't. But beard hair, it's basically a universal feature. So right off the bat, we're dealing with two completely different types of hair. Different thickness, different shape, different structure. Now let's talk about how long these hairs actually grow. Scalp hair has a growth phase called anagen, and for most guys, that phase lasts 2 to 7 years. That's why you can grow your hair down past your shoulders if you want to. The hair just keeps growing for years before it starts to fall out and reset. Beard hair, the anagen phase is way shorter. We're talking 2 to 6 months on average. Some guys can push it to a year or more if they're committed to growing a long beard. But most of the time, your beard hits a terminal length and just stops. That's why you can grow your head hair down to your waist, but your beard maxes out maybe a foot or two if you never trim it. And here's the kicker. At any given time, about 85 to 90% of your scalp hair is actively growing. The rest is just chilling in a resting phase before it falls out. But your beard? Only about 70% of it is growing at any given time. The other 30% is resting, and that resting phase for beard hair is only about 10 weeks. Scalp hair rests for 3 to 4 months. So your beard is constantly cycling through growth and rests faster than your scalp. And that's why it feels like your beard fills in quicker, even though each individual hair doesn't grow as long. All right, here's where things get really interesting. And honestly, this part blew my mind when I first learned about it. The first hormone that makes your beard grow thick and strong is the exact same hormone that makes your scalp hair fall out. I'm talking about DHT, dihydrotestosterone. It's a more potent version of testosterone, and it's created when an enzyme called 5-alpha reductase converts testosterone into DHT. Now, when DHT hits your beard follicles, it's like rocket fuel. It tells those follicles to grow bigger, thicker, darker hair. That's why your beard didn't really show up until puberty. Once your testosterone levels spiked, your body started converting it into DHT, and boom, facial hair. But here's the paradox. When that same DHT hits the follicles on your scalp, especially on your hairline and your crown, it does the opposite. It shrinks the follicles. It shortens that growth phase. And over time, those follicles start producing thinner, shorter, weaker hair until eventually they just stop producing terminal hair altogether. Same hormone, opposite effect. Wild, right? So why does this happen? Why does DHT make your beard thrive, but your scalp suffer? It all comes down to something called epigenetic programming. Basically, when you were still in the womb, your hair follicles were exposed to different signals depending on where they were located on your body. Those signals programmed your follicles to respond to hormones in specific ways later in life. Your beard follicles were programmed to love DHT. Your scalp follicles, at least the one on your hairline and your crown, were programmed to hate it. And here's proof that its programming is permanent. If a surgeon takes a hair follicle from your beard and transplants it onto your scalp, that follicle will keep acting like a beard hair. It'll grow thick and coarse, and it won't miniaturize from DHT because it still thinks that it's a beard follicle. Same thing in reverse. If you take a scalp follicle from your crown and move it to your face, it'll still be vulnerable to DHT. It'll still act like scalp hair. The follicles have a memory, and that memory, it's locked in. If you want to put this into practice, I use the Main Growth Elixir. It's a natural blend that I built to support scalp health and long-term growth. You can find it in the link below. Try consistently for 90 days, and if it's not for you, get your money back. Now, let's talk about that factory that produces your hair. It's called the dermal papilla. It's this little cluster of cells at the base of your hair follicles, and it's basically the command center. It tells your follicles how big to grow, how fast to grow, and what kind of hair to produce. Here's the thing, the dermal papilla in your beard follicles is about 4 times larger than the one in your scalp follicle. 4 times. That means that your beard follicles have way more cells working to produce hair. More cells means more resources. More resources means thicker, stronger hair. Your hair follicles, they're working with a smaller team. And when DHT starts shrinking those follicles even more, that team gets even smaller. The dermal papilla shrinks. The hair gets thinner. The growth phase gets shorter. And eventually, the follicle just gives up. So when people ask me, why does my beard grow so easily, but my scalp doesn't? This is a huge part of the answer. Your beard follicles are literally bigger and stronger from the start. Now, you might think that your scalp hair grows faster than your beard because it gets longer, but that's not actually true. Scalp hair grows about 0.3 to 0.4 millimeters per day. That's roughly about an inch per month. Beard hair, it grows 0.4 millimeters per day. Some studies even show it can hit 0.5 millimeters per day during peak growth periods. That's about half an inch per month, sometimes more. So your beard is actually growing just as fast, if not faster, than your scalp hair. It just doesn't get as long because the growth phase is shorter. And here's something kind of cool. Beard growth has a seasonal rhythm. Studies show that beard growth is slowest in January and February, but it speeds up about 20% between March and July. Your scalp hair doesn't really do that. It's pretty consistent all year round. So if you've ever felt like your beard grows faster in the spring and summer, you're not imagining it. It actually really does. All right, so now that you understand why your beard and scalp are so different, let's talk about why treatments work differently on each. Take finasteride, for example. It's one of the most popular hair loss treatments out there. It works by blocking that enzyme that I mentioned earlier, 5-alpha reductase. So your body produces less DHT. For scalp, this is great. Less DHT means your follicles stop shrinking. Your hair loss slows down or even stops. Some guys even see regrowth. But for your beard, finasteride can slow down growth because remember, your beard loves DHT. If you block DHT, you're taking away the fuel that your beard needs to grow thick and strong. Now, most guys who take oral finasteride say that their beards stay pretty much the same. And that's because the drug doesn't completely eliminate DHT, it just reduces it. And your beard is sensitive enough to testosterone that it can still grow even with less DHT. But if you apply finasteride topically to your face, like some women do to reduce unwanted facial hair, it absolutely works. It suppresses beard growth because you're blocking DHT right on the source. Now let's talk about minoxidil. This one works for both your scalp and your beard. It's a vasodilator, which means that it opens up blood vessels and increases blood flow to your follicles. More blood means more oxygen and nutrients. More nutrients mean better growth. There was a study done in Thailand where they tested 3% minoxidil lotion on guys who wanted to grow their beards. After 16 weeks, the guy using minoxidil had way more hair growth than the placebo group. Their beards were thicker, fuller, and more full even. So minoxidil works on both. It doesn't mess with your hormones. It just helps your follicles do their job better. And that's why natural ingredients that boost circulation, like peppermint oil, rosemary oil, and ginkgo biloba can help both your beard and your scalp. They're not hormone based. They're just supporting the environment that your hair grows in. Now, I get asked this all the time. Stallion, can I just slap some mane growth elixir on my beard and grow a lumberjack mane? Look, you can absolutely use it on your beard. It's all natural ingredients. It's not going to hurt you. Your face is not going to fall off. But here's the deal. I did not formulate this for your beard. I formulated it for your scalp. Your beard follicles and your scalp follicles are playing two completely different games. This elixir was designed to fight DHT on your scalp, boost circulation up on top, and create an environment where thinning hair can actually recover. So yeah, it'll condition your beard. It'll probably make the skin underneath feel better. But if you're trying to go from patchy to full Viking beard, this is not the tool for the job. That's a whole different formula. Now, if you want to dive deeper into the science of DHT and how it affects your scalp, I made a full video breakdown on androgen signaling the hormonal mechanisms behind hair loss. It's linked on the screen right now. Check it out. I'll see you there in a bit.